So good morning everyone. So I am teacher Rica Losabalabres and today I'll be discussing one important aspect of assessment. So last time we discussed quantitative evaluation. So unsa ganitong quantitative evaluation? So very good. So quantitative evaluation in which focuses on number, scores, and measurable data. So today, let's explore another important type of assessment that focuses on words, observations, and descriptions. So let's move on to our topic for today. So today our topic is all about qualitative evaluation. So what is qualitative evaluation? So before that, I have here two examples. So in number one, a student test score, and number two is a teacher's comment. So para ninyo, which one gives you more detail about the learner's performance? So example 1 is student test score. This is a quantitative. It only shows how many answers she got right. It tells you the result but not why, how, or what she did well or struggled with. But in the example number 2, a teacher's comment, this is a qualitative. It explains how Maria performed. It describes her skills, thinking process, and learning behavior. It gives richer and more specific information about her understanding. So we have here a lesson objectives. So at the end of this presentation, you will be able to define qualitative evaluation. So distinguish it from quantitative methods and identify real examples of qualitative tools used by teachers. So what is qualitative evaluation? So, qualitative evaluation focuses on description and observations rather than scores. It uses words instead of numbers. So, it aims to understand learners' progress, strength, and learning progress. So, when focuses on description and observation rather than scores, this means that teachers look at how the student learns, not just the scores they get. Instead of counting correct answers, teachers describe what the learner can do, how they behave, and how they understand the lesson. Example, Maria participates well in class and explains her ideas clearly. So, in the uses words instead of numbers, it means that qualitative evaluation describes performance using sentences, comments, or feedback, not numerical scores. For example, instead of writing 18 over 20, the teacher writes, Maria shows good understanding of the topic. Aims to understand learners' progress. So, the goal is to see how much the learner is improving over time. So, on focuses on learner's strengths, so qualitative evaluation highlights what the learner is good at. So, for example, Jinky can clearly explain how we use our sense of sight. So, unlike quantitative evaluation that measures performance through numbers, qualitative evaluation describes how and why learning happens. So, it looks at the quality of performance rather than the quality of correct answer. Okay, so qualitative versus quantitative evaluation. So I have here a table comparison which is gi-compare ang qualitative ug ang quantitative. So unsa ilahang differences? So from its focuses, so ang qualitative is nag-focus sa understanding, meaning, perspective, and sa iyahang experiences, while ang quantitative is nag-focus siya sa measuring numerical data and proving relationship. So, sa ilahang data type, so ang qualitative is a non-numerical, so nag-focus siya sa words, descriptions, and observations like ganina sa feedback or comments. So, ang quantitative is a numerical. So, nag-kuan siya sa scores, percentage, and frequencies. So, while its purpose, ang qualitative is, iyang purpose is to explore, explain, and understand behaviors, reasons, and motivations. Then, sa quantitative, iyang purpose is to measure, mo i-measure or pila score or yan na taas ba ang score or compare, test, hypothesis, and generate results. So, I have here examples. So, sa qualitative, yung example is interviews. So, kabaw naman tanaw unsa nang mag-interviews. and open-ended surveys and observations or journals. So, pero sa quantitative, yung example is test kay kuan guni siya numerical or nag-focus sa scores or numbers. So, test, rating skills, close-ended surveys, and statistics. So, these two complement each other while qualitative shows sa mayang gi-show so nag-show siya og result while ang qualitative tells the story behind those results. So let's move on to the characteristics of qualitative evaluation. So first is descriptive and detailed. So ang qualitative evaluation is detailed siya and descriptive. So it means gives clear, specific comments about what the learner can do. So flexible and context-based, so adjusts to the situation and considers each learner's needs. Focuses on learner behavior and performance, so looks at how the learner participates, act, and show understanding. So as a teacher, so tan-awon nimo ang behavior sa bata og iyang performance og ni kasabot ba jud siya sa lesson. So encourage reflection and self-assessment, so helps learners think about their work and identify areas to improve. Promotes fairness and understanding, so treats learners as individuals and does not judge them only by scores. So these features make qualitative evaluation more personal and human-centered. It sees learners as individuals with unique strengths. So let's move on to common qualitative evaluation or tools. So first is anecdotal records. So unsa man ang anecdotal records? So any idea? So anecdotal records is a short notes written by teachers about a student's behavior, performance, or attitude during class. So ang anecdotal records is mono siya ang note sa teacher bitaw about sa iyang student if kung sa iyang behavior, iyang performance, or iyang attitude. Like for example, ako as a teacher, ako ang ginote si Jinky. Si Jinky is my student. Sa ako ang ginote og unsa iyang behavior, gara ba siya, naminaw ba siya, or iyang performance. Dako ba siya score or gamay ba iyang attitude during class, behave ba siya or what. So mana siya. So anecdotal records, so it helps teachers remember specific events that show a learner's growth. So let's move on to portfolios. So I know that kabaw na mo sa ng portfolios no kay naka create naman ta na before sa ato ang math ni Sir Suarez nga gipagamat og portfolios, which is a collections of a student work over time. It shows their progress, effort, and learning journey. So for examples, a folder containing their essays, drawings, or project from a start to finish. So important po siya para ma-recall nato or matanaw nato og unsay improvement. So let's move on to journals. So journals is where students write their thoughts and feelings about what they learned. So it encourages self-reflection. So for example, for instance, a student might write, I realize I need to speak more confidently during discussion. So masabtan naman ang journals, no? So let's move on to rubrics. So what is rubrics? So rubrics is a scoring guide, but in qualitative evaluation, it uses descriptions instead of numbers. So for example, instead of saying 10 points, so it might say excellent, shows clear understanding and creativity. This gives students clear feedback. So next is peer assessment and self-assessment. So peer assessment, students give feedback to classmates, while in self-assessment, they evaluate their own work. So for example, after an activity, a student might say, I need to improve my spelling, or my partner's explanation was really clear. So, masabtan naman ang peer assessment and self-assessment now. So, let's move on to interviews. So, interviews. So, common naman kayo na interviews, no? So, interviews is let teachers talk to or watch students as they learn. So, this helps teachers understand their behavior, attitude, and comprehension. So, for example, in the mathematics, so, pangutan mo ang student o giwan sa man nimo pag-solve sa imong strategy or yan na. Then, observation, imo siya i-observe. Pag nakasabot ba, so, I have here two examples of qualitative feedback. So, first is before. Good job, 9/10. And after, you explained your ideas clearly and use real-life example. Next time, try to organize your paragraphs more smoothly. So, unsa may iyong nabantayan sa duha ka feedback? So notice how the two feedbacks tells the students exactly what they did well and what to improve. So that's qualitative evaluation. So let's move on to the importance of qualitative evaluation. So why is it qualitative evaluation is important? So first is it encourages student motivation. So by giving comments or feedback, so it gives the learners nga ma-motivate sila. Then it builds self-awareness and reflection. So by giving that, so ma-aware sila og asa sila need nga mo excel pa or asa need nila nga tarungon para mo growth sila. And then it supports holistic and assessment and promotes fairness and inclusivity. So it helps us more beyond numbers because scores is just a number and truly understand and nurture the learner's growth. So to summarize, qualitative evaluation gives us the why and how behind learning, so it makes assessment more human and reflective. Alright, so I think everyone knows what is qualitative evaluations. So I have here a quote. Teaching is not about counting correct answers. It's about guiding human growth. Qualitative evaluation let us see who our students are becoming. Class, remember this, especially as future teachers. Teaching is not just about counting correct answers. It's about guiding human growth. One day when you stand in front of your own students, I hope you remember that their worth is not measured by scores alone. Qualitative evaluation will help you see more than numbers. It helps you notice your students' efforts, attitudes, strengths, and progress. More importantly, it reminds you to look at who they are becoming. As future educators, always choose to understand your learners, support their growth, and see their potential beyond the test paper. So I think that would be all. Thank you and good morning, class.